Tamam, ready to go? Assalamu alaikum, it's Ibrahim from Idlib, Syria. It's our first program today. We're kicking off Ibrahim's live show from Idlib, Syria. I'm excited to get going. We're working on the technical side to make sure things don't cut off during our program. What my plan is, I've got two main topics I was hoping to discuss with you guys today. Governance in Idlib after 4 years, and will there be a military operation in Idlib? I've got a few notes. I'm going to be reading from some notes that I've got written here in the laptop. So bear that in mind during the discussion. Please feel free to send in your questions, send in your comments, some advice, some ideas. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you got any points you want to bring up or things that you feel need to be answered, please send them through. They're more than welcome. I'll try my best to try to clarify my point of view, my opinion regarding the topics which I've brought up, governance in Idlib, and will there be an operation or not, as well as the questions that are proposed. I've already had a number of questions come through prior to this live show, and I'll kick off. I'll try to kick off with them, being that they've beat the gun. In addition to that, I'll try to address as many questions as I can in this episode, you could say, and we will be having more episodes like this within this program in the future. Hopefully, we'll try to be doing it once a week, every Monday night at 8 p.m. Idlib time or 5 p.m. GMT. Thanks for joining with us. I'm going to kick off in regards to the first topic, which is governance in Idlib after 4 years. Now, it's an important time now, being that the Syrian Salvation Government was established exactly 4 years ago on the 2nd of November 2017. Let's look a little bit about the past of how things were governed, you could say, and how things were addressed with regards to civil affairs and administration in the liberated areas prior to 2017. In the initial days of the revolution, when it first kicked off, you can imagine before the revolution, Assad regime was spread throughout Syria, and he had a security and military grasp over Syria and the Syrian people's lives. Gradually, as the revolution, you could say, gained momentum, the Assad regime started losing areas, started withdrawing from areas, very important areas, strategic areas, filled with people, filled with Syrian civilians and citizens. And these areas and villages, which were gradually being lost by the Assad regime, the institutions fell apart. Those who were employed by Assad regime, many of them splintered and left the Assad regime and joined the revolution. So you had a big vacuum appear, and a void in governance and a void in administration and authority. So this left room for, or you could say, pushed for a development of a new civil body to be established, and that was like a little civil city council or village council for each village and city, which was independently governed by a small party of people from that village. Generally, they were like the heads of the village, the wealthy, the businessmen, and in particular the factions. Now, the factions had, the little factions which were gradually being established throughout the revolution, early periods of the revolution, they had an influence on these little civil councils. So gradually, this, you could say, developed over time. Many parts of Syria fell. The Assad regime had a big withdrawal. You could say 70% approximately of Syria was out of his hands. So you had a huge vacuum in governance, and the lives of the Syrian people were, you could say, their needs and necessities. Much of that was not being met with, and you had aid organisations coming in to assist and fill part of that void, which they still do till today. They still take part in cooperation with the authorities. So aid organisations, military factions, small and big, civil councils made up of the prominent personalities from the village or the city, and this is a decentralised system. Over time, and after a long period of the revolution, many battles, the regime and Russia intervening, Iranian militias intervening, bombing of hospitals, schools. The people needed this void to be filled in an organised fashion, which pushed for the need of establishing an internal on-the-ground government, which would be managed and governed differently from the interim government, which was governed from the outside of Syria, which is run from the outside of Syria in a decentralised fashion. That's where the Syrian Salvation Government was established. The name is very important, that it's a salvation government, which generally means a periodic or temporary government, which is filling the void and vacuum in governance. It's governing and addressing an emergency stage, and it's governing and addressing a war-torn area which experiences bombs and atrocities pretty much on a daily basis. This government, established initially in a central command system, or you could say centralised system, and gradually started spreading throughout the liberated areas, and gradually started establishing ministries. Now it has 10 ministries. Of them is the Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Interior Affairs, Ministry of Economy, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Public Affairs, and you carry on. You've got the 10 ministries. You've got a Prime Minister, which many people may know. If they're following up the affairs on the ground here, they'll know him as Ustaz Ali Kida. He's an engineer who defected from the regime in the early days of the revolution. He's a prominent figure. He was part of Faylaq al-Sham, and he was part of Jaysh al-Fatah, and now he is a Prime Minister of the liberated areas. And this government has gradually established and expanded and built up a relationship with the society, till the society gradually showed recognition to this government, and there has been many steps towards that recognition made. Is the government where it should be? I'll say realistically no, being that it is governing an emergency stage, an emergency area in a war zone. It has you could say weaknesses with regards to limited funds, limited human resources, but with this in mind, they are still establishing and expanding on a horizontal and a vertical, in a vertical way, with regards to the hierarchy, with regards to the ministries and the departments and the institutions, and it works in a high level of cooperation with the aid organisations, and it works in a high level of cooperation with the factions, Amaliyat, Fath al-Mubin operations room, as well as the factions which are under this banner, HTS, Ahrar al-Sham, Faylaq al-Sham, etc. And this government, it is filling the void in a you could say, like I said, an emergency fashion. This form of governance has gradually developed, as I mentioned. There are other parts of Syria being governed, like northern Aleppo, eastern Euphrates, which is the SDF, or Anonymous Administration, and you have the Assad regime. With regards to governance, there's a number of questions that have been posted that may be related to this topic, so maybe I'll address a few of these questions regarding the governance before we jump on to our second topic. The first question, which was posed by Tims. Tims is from Twitter. Thank you for sending the message in to the Tims. I appreciate it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's the question is, I had a question for the live show. How good is the economic state of civilians, non-IDPs in Greater Idlib compared to those in other rebel-held areas like Afrin, Al-Bab and others? Let's clarify that the percentage of civilians in Idlib and in northern Aleppo, the non-IDPs, meaning the residents, they are a reasonably small percentage, and there is a large percentage that are actually displaced. So they have come from all parts of Syria, eastern, southern, Damascus, western, all parts of Syria, have gathered around into these two main areas, which is Idlib and northern Aleppo. So you have a large percentage of the people that reside in Idlib and northern Aleppo are displaced. But of those who are residents who actually reside here and are originally from Idlib, you have a mixture of them. A lot of them, with regards to their economic situation, a lot of them have land which they are farmers, which is Idlib is renowned for farming, as well as having olive trees. Now, olive trees, it might sound like a very simple matter, but in Idlib, it's a prime source of revenue for the families of Idlib. The average family will have 10, 15, 20 olive trees. These trees will provide olives and olive oil. Now, olive oil is produced in many factories around Idlib, and that is turned into revenue for the family. Many of the families live off that revenue for the whole year. Some may have an extra business, some may have apartment which they're renting out, some may have land which they farm as well as the olive trees. Previously, before the revolution, you had more olive trees in Idlib than human beings. The number was over 1 million olive trees in the Idlib province. So in addition to that, you have people that are businessmen. They've inherited money from their fathers and grandfathers. They have big projects and factories, and they are tradesmen, whether it be import or export. And these people are the prime figures, you could say, that take part. Many of them assist many families that are living here which are poor. You have, I'd say, a reasonably smaller percentage of the residents in Idlib that are originally from Idlib who may be poor. Poor as in they wouldn't have no olive trees, no farmlands, no nothing any. So I'd say, as a conclusion to the question, that the economic situation in comparison between Idlib and northern Aleppo would be very similar. Very similar. The residents in Idlib and the residents in Aleppo, they'd have a very similar economic situation, being that they are bordered to each other. The areas are very similar, farmlands, olive trees, etc. And you have a large percentage of the people residing in these areas that are actually displaced from all over Syria. I hope I was able to answer that question. I'll jump on to question number 2 from Amir Ismail from Twitter. Jazakallah khair, Brother Amir, for sending your question. I'll do my best to answer it. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. The brother says, where do you see the government in the next 2 years? And will there be foreign journalists or broadcasters in Idlib? First question, where will I see the government in 2 years? I have trust in Allah as well as trust in those who are responsible for leading the revolution, the governments in northern Aleppo or in Idlib, that they will unify. There will be, I believe and I hope, within 2 years and maybe even before that, and I ask Allah that that's the case, that there will be a unified government for the liberated areas. And this unified government will definitely minimize much of the problems, much of the affairs, issues that are faced by the Syrian people, and will pave the way for establishing a genuine replacement for the Assad regime. And this will be classed as a big blow for the regime, and things today, even in the past 6 months and more, and gradually day by day or month by month, you can see the development, the bridges being built to create that bond and to develop these institutions and these two governments, the Syrian Salvation Government and interim government, uniting. I hope that's the case. With regards to the foreign journalists and broadcasters in Idlib, we've seen many come in and out online, like Martin Smith and many others. Some have even contacted me online and discussed with me a little bit about the situation in Idlib and about their work. And not long ago, one of the famous YouTubers spoke to me, and he's organising himself to come in and do a big photo shoot and movie here in Idlib. So there are many people that are keen on coming in. There is an office that has been established by the authorities to open up and pave ways for people, foreign journalists, broadcasters to come in. And we've only seen that they've come in and had their, you could say, freedom to move around and do their job, which is deliver the message, deliver the reality on the ground, the hardship the Syrian people are facing to the world. And we are grateful. The Syrian people have only showed gratefulness for all those who are working to serve the Syrian people in their cause and to deliver the message and their hurt and their hardship to the world. This has definitely played an important role in the Syrian revolution, its past, present and future. Question number 3. Brother Amar from Facebook. Jazakallah khair, Brother Amar, for sending through your question. He says, Jazakallah khair. One question I had in mind, are the local government working towards an autocratic system or full independent state? let's clarify one important thing, and this may be a misconception out there. The revolution, like I said, the situation now is temporary. It might be a month, it might be a year, it might be longer, it might be shorter. The aim and the goal of the revolution is to take Damascus. So if we're saying an independent state, non-independent state, the revolution's goal is for the Assad regime to fall, and for the revolution and its partners and all those who want to take part from the Syrian people all around Syria. And I'm sure there are many Syrians living in Assad's areas who don't like Assad, who want to leave Assad's areas from the oppression, from the hardship and the dire situations they are witnessing under that criminal regime. So the independent state is the system that they're looking for. And this is to govern all of Syria, everything within its borders. Damascus, Deir ez-Zor, Hasaka, Hama, Dar'a, Ladiqiyah, Idlib, Halab, etc. This is the aim. Now, with regards to the autocratic system or any other, you could say, system of governance, the system at the moment that the government is working upon and have pushed towards establishing is a technocratic system. Now, please, I don't want people to get a little bit caught up with the whole terminologies. This government is an Islamic government which abides by the rules and regulations of Islamic law. And this allows the management systems to implement the Islamic law and the Islamic way of life and Islamic governance. There are many ways to achieve that. The technocratic system, which relies on professionals, doctors, people who have doctorates, people who have a long history of experience in particular fields, they are the people that are appointed, and they are the people that are appointed to manage and administrate the government's ministries and departments. Now that's the system in place. Like I said, this is all under the umbrella within the rules and regulations and boundaries of Islam. So that's basically, in a nutshell, that yes, they do. The revolution is seeking an independent state to govern all of Syria, a unified state for all of the Syrian people. In addition to that, they're currently abiding by and working towards a technocratic system. Look, I've got another question that's been sent through. It's from Ahmed Musa, and it's been sent through on Telegram. The question is, what is life like for a foreigner or muhajir in Idlib, and is it safe? Subhanallah. I'm an immigrant, a muhajir, and I've been living in Idlib for over 8 years. I've only been treated by the locals in the best of ways. I haven't sensed or felt any form as though I am a foreigner, or I am not of them, or they are not of me. I have children here with a Syrian wife. Our children go to school. My wife teaches and goes to the university. All these procedures are taking place in a very normal, actually more than normal fashion. Just so I clarify, I lived most of my life before migration to Idlib as a migrant. I'm originally Lebanese who lived in Australia. So I lived in Australia as a migrant, and I lived the life, my whole life, as a migrant. We'd go back to Lebanon to visit our family and our friends and to visit our relatives, and we'd be treated as a migrant in Lebanon. We'd be treated as a foreigner in Lebanon. And likewise, I've moved to Idlib, so I've lived my whole life as a foreigner or as a migrant, you could say. And this period, this 8 years I've lived in Idlib, I'd say it'd be the best years of my life. I was only welcomed in the best of ways. I don't want you to misunderstand and feel like I'm sugarcoating. I've only felt like I'm one of the locals. I've only been treated as though I'm one of them. And look, can I say it's all roses? No, I won't say that. Can I say it's perfect? No, definitely not. We are in a war zone, man. Keep that in mind. And we are with people who are hurt. We're living amongst people who are hurt. They've been bombarded by the Assad regime, by Russia. They've been abandoned by the Muslim world. They've been abandoned by the international community. Wallahi, I've only seen the locals grasp onto the Muhajirin and thank them with their wealth, with generosity, with hospitality, as though they're their own sons. By Allah, that's all I've seen. To the second part of the question, is it safe? I believe that at once, like in many parts, if it wasn't for the bombs from Assad and all these sort of atrocities that are taking place from the enemies of a revolution, Idlib is like, I'll give you an example just so I don't give you, just throw things out there. I drive at night in Idlib city at 12 p.m. and sometimes later 1 in the morning, and inshallah in the future I'll do a video of this, and you'll find the streets filled. You'll find a grandmother and a grandfather walking in the street at 1 in the morning, at 12:30 in the morning, not fearing anyone but Allah, and that's it, yani. And they're walking through the streets in Idlib, even in other cities in the liberated areas. They're not fearing anyone but Allah. So you do have, and I'll be honest with you, I put a lot of that forth to the Syrian Salvation Government, to the security services working day and night here, to the police. They're doing a lot of hard work. You see them. One time, a vehicle was stolen. One of the vehicles was stolen about a year ago. And some of the brothers went down on the ground to see what happened with this vehicle. It's been stolen. They wanted to speak to the police, etc. They found the head commander of the police, of the local police, the head commander. He was in the streets helping his soldiers at 12 o'clock at night. The head commander. Now this is a regular affair. You witness in Idlib that even though there's mistakes and problems and an emergency state and all this sort of stuff, the people that are working in these institutions, many of them are doing it not for money, not for a position. They're doing it for the sake of Allah. And I've seen that. Allah knows. People might say I might be a little bit exaggerating or something like that. Allah is my witness. What's in my heart? That there are people here, many people in these institutions that are doing it for the sake of Allah. And when they do it for the sake of Allah, you'll find them in the streets at 12 o'clock at night. You'll find them doing ribat on the front lines, 5, 6, 20 days, 30 days, 40 days. Some of them won't go home for a month. You'll find them working day and night to try to minimize expenses, minimize the problems that are happening, to solve the issues of the civilians and the citizens. And this is what I believe will be the key to victory. Is the revolution and those who are responsible, are they genuinely serving the Syrian people for the Syrian people's cause, for their benefit? Or are they doing it for other purposes? Like Assad regime, he's serving everyone but the Syrian people. Russia's benefiting, Iran's benefiting, Israel's benefiting, America's benefiting, Turkey's benefiting, everyone's benefiting except for the Syrian people. The factions in the liberated areas in the revolution, the closer they become to the Syrian people and serve the Syrian people in their noble cause, the hurt Syrian people, this will be the key to victory. The key to victory. And I sincerely believe that the foundation for that is apparent and is around in the revolution, particularly in the areas of Idlib, and hopefully and gradually this will establish and develop a snowball effect where this will open up for them many doors to gain victory over the Assad regime and his enemies and his allies. Allah knows best. That's pretty much we've got pretty much the questions regard to governance have all been answered. I think we can jump on to our second topic, important topic. We'll try to not be too long because we're already dragged on a little bit. Will there be a military operation in Idlib? Subhanallah, I'll give you the answer clear, and it might be a little bit harsh. I believe that there will be a military operation in Idlib. Tamam? But the question is when? And the second question is by who? Now, at the moment, things are reasonably calm. There are build-ups on Assad's side, Russia's side, etc. And there are build-ups on the revolution side. Also, you have the concept of will Assad attack, or is the revolution ready to attack before he does? Now this is an important point to make. The revolution have had 18 months plus of time to reorganize, restructure, rebuild, develop, train, structure its internal ranks, the chain of command, etc. And they've gone through, like you can see through their media and discussing people on the ground here, you can see the development, you can see the structure. The operations room Fath al-Mubin was a great achievement, because before the battle in late 2019, early 2020, there was no joint operations room in Idlib. Everyone was fighting on their own pretty much. HTS on their own, Ahrar al-Sham on their own, Faylaq al-Sham on their own, other factions from northern Aleppo, some of them were popping in and out, like in a decentralized manner and fashion. So this, you could say, this decentralized, unorganized fashion, I think played a big part in the loss of areas. Created doubt, uncertainty. Now, saying that there's an operations room now, and there's a central command, unified command between all the factions, this is a huge move forth. This is a step that we were waiting for from many years ago. And this is similar, maybe not as precise, but similar to what was established in the time of Jaysh al-Fatah, the time when Idlib and the whole western part of Idlib was liberated, which forced the Russian intervention and forced the Iranian intervention into Syria to revive Assad from death. Now, Jaysh al-Fatah was strong. I think unity was the key to that success, or to its success. And now, the operations room, which is established, Al-Fath al-Mubin, this is definitely a big card in the hand of the revolution. This is not to mention the presence of the Turkish military points. I'm not saying, like the revolution, I advise, and this is what I understood from them, from those who are on the ground and many that are close to the military body, that they'll say that the Turkish army is not depended on, even though their presence is important, and their presence is definitely a deterrent for the Russians and the Assad regime. The factions are preparing themselves for an offensive. The factions are preparing themselves for an offensive. I've got a question. Just give me a moment. One second. Okay, I've got a question from Fatima, 97 on Telegram. Jazakallah khair, Fatima, for the question. Do civilians really live in Jabal Azaria? And will the Jabal Azaria region be sold out like in Khan Shaykhun, Marib Naman, etc.? Subhanallah. There's a number of points that need to be answered in this question. Maybe it can be dissected. Point number one, Jabal Azaria has tens of thousands of people living in it. Jabal Azaria is actually, it's a large region. And it has many, many villages. I think it's up to 40 villages that are actually liberated. They're not, like, part of Jabal Azaria is occupied, and part is liberated. And Jabal Azaria is right on the bottom of Jabal Arbain. Jabal Arbain is right beside Ariha. This area is very important, very strategic. Jabal Arbain is probably number 2, the second highest point in the whole of the liberated areas. So this point is very strategic. Jabal Azaria has many people living in it, especially the fact that the people that seek refuge in the northern parts of Idlib on the borders, many of them have returned to Jabal Azaria. So yes, there are people residing in Jabal Azaria, and even in Jabal Azaria at the moment, there's been civilian projects being established there. In Ariha, hospitals, electricity is actually being delivered now. There's electricity in Ariha. On Jabal Arbain, even in Jabal Azaria, they're preparing to bring in electricity. There's hospitals established in Jabal Azaria, even south of the M4. There are villages, some of them are completely packed, some are partially filled. There are businesses trading, schools operating, etc. That's Jabal Azaria. Now, will Jabal Azaria be sold out like Khan Shaykhun or Marib Naman, etc.? There are many people that claim that Khan Shaykhun, Marib Naman, maybe even Saraqib was sold. This, for those who are residing in Idlib, and those who are close to the factions, and those who actually go to the front lines, especially in times of battles, they will all say this is a Russian disinformation campaign to create doubt and fear in the hearts of the liberated the people residing in liberated areas, doubt in the hearts of the revolutionaries. Khan Sheikhoun and south of Khan Sheikhoun was a battle that took place for over 2 to 3 months. There were hundreds of fighters, even maybe numbers reached up to thousands of fighters that were either martyred or injured from all the factions. And this battle took place. It was back and forth, karru far, attack and retreat for both sides for a number of months. This gradually, with the air power of the Russians and the ground power of the Assad regime, backed by the Russians and the Iranians and many other militias, they were gradually able to penetrate through the lines of the Murabatin and Mujahideen, or the military factions, and the Assad regime broke the lines and areas started falling. Now, so I'll clarify here. There was no square meter, which was sold without a fight. And that's my witness, and that's the witness of many of those who are on the ground. Even if you see the video of Jamil Saleh, Ra'id Jamil Saleh from Jaysh al-Azzi, he's from Latamina. Latamina is south of Khan Sheikhoun. If his witness is not taken, I don't know whose is. He was the man on the ground, him and his men, hundreds of his fighters. He lost many, he had many injured, and he will tell you if it was sold or not. And his video clarifies, where he clarifies, nothing was sold. None of these areas were sold. That's a hoax. That's a Russian disinformation campaign that some people have fallen for. And I emphasize, do not fall for the Russian disinformation campaign. Be aware of what you believe, which is put out by people that are outside of Idlib, or people that are close to the regime, or sidelined, you could say, not here, not there. Russian disinformation campaigns have worked hard. They've pumped false information to the media. They don't really care, as far as I understand and as far as I've analysed, they don't really care if people believe them or not. They just want to cause doubt in the hearts of the people, which will achieve their goal. That's my opinion, and that's mine and many other people's opinion, and that's my witness regarding the sale of lands. Even if you go back to Sharq al-Sikka, the fights in Sharq al-Sikka were fierce. Assad regime opened a path for ISIS there. And the fights, Sharq al-Sikka, east of the railways, started with ISIS on the ground. That carried on for over a month. And then the battle started with the Assad regime and the Russian aeroplanes and fighter jets. And that took as well months. I think it was 4 months. Many martyrs, many injured. And the withdrawal happened after everything, all physical power was used. The fighters withdrawed. And that's the same thing that happened in Khan Sheikhoun, the same thing that happened in Mark Naman, the same thing happened in Saraqib. So that's clarifying that these areas were not sold. Jabal Azaria is a stronghold for the Mujahideen, for the Murabatin, for the factions. There is all the intention to defend this area. We've only seen that on the ground. We've only seen that from the people from Jabal Azaria themselves, from the factions, from the operations room, across the board. South of M4 is just as important as north of the M4. I hope I've clarified that point regarding this important question that was posed. Jazakumullah khair. There's another question that's been passed on by Jamal from Telegram. Jamal's asked, do people still live in tents now winter is approaching? Subhanallah. It's sad for me to say this. There are still hundreds of thousands of people living in tents, and I mean tents that are made out of plastic, tents that are made out of cloth, even though winter is approaching. Now, does that mean that it's the same number as last year? I'd say no. Why? Because there has been many projects that have worked on building small brick houses or small brick apartments. Now, There are many aid organisations which we are grateful for their efforts and their work, who have come in with the with cooperation with the Ministry of Displacement and Humanitarian Affairs. These aid organisations have done a huge job and worked overtime in building camps that their homes are made out of brick. There's no more, like the strategy is to eliminate tents, and that's what I've understood, and I've discussed this with those who work in the humanitarian department, that the tents is gradually, the strategy is to eliminate tents and to transfer all who live in tents into homes made out of brick with a concrete roof. Even though it might be small, it's definitely better for them. It will protect them from the heat in summer, and it will protect them from the cold and the rain in winter. Now this is the direction we're moving in the liberated areas. This is the direction the aid organisations, and this is what I've understood from the humanitarian aid department, that this is the direction things are going into. These are pretty much the questions that have come through so far. Look, I think we've pretty much reached our time limit. It's been a beautiful time. I've really enjoyed answering these questions and interacting. I look forward to your comments, to your advice, your future questions. I really look forward to receiving them and answering them. I know there's many misconceptions and sensitive questions out there. Feel free to send them through. I'm not afraid of them. I'll do my best to answer them, inshallah. Look, this is Ibrahim's live show from Idlib, Syria. We'll be on again, inshallah, in hopefully next Monday at the same time at 8 p.m. Idlib time, 5 p.m. GMT. It's been a pleasure. Forgive me if I've said anything wrong. May Allah forgive me if I've said anything wrong, and guide me to what pleases Him, and guide us all to the path of righteousness and good. Jazakumullah khair. It's your brother Ibrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.